Why are people so angry about music AI?
Rick Beato's video, for example, it was a terrible source of data on his part. It was poor research. I think he's very wrong.
What share of influence do I have in these generative AI platforms that is making music based off of my music that's informing how to create this content?
I want to ask, why are people so angry? Because on both sides of the field, angry about AI because it's not real music. Come on, You are not a real musician, and please don't try to compare with the shredding guitar player your prompts into AI. Okay, yeah. So you have this group, and then you have this group over here, which is going back to kind of what we're talking about. That it's just a new definition of art. It's not the same thing. It's just this entitlement of like, I am now gonna create an album in all of 3 minutes. I'm gonna put it out, and I'm gonna complain and be an artist and just be like, I'm an artist. Well, your entitlement does not equate to the level of effort that it took for you to be a musician, to make the music video. So Mike, I'll throw it to you first. What do you think? Why are people so angry about music AI?
Honestly, I think it comes back to the bottom line, how everyone's making money in music today, which is streaming. I think it's about 83% of globally how the industry is making money streaming. And I think it's any foundational broken system when you introduce more newness or more new toys or more new ways of creating or challenging that broken system just creates anxiety. It creates more discourse and more complexity. And I think the problem is ultimately everyone who's making a living or is trying to make a living in music or trying to do it in streaming and other supplementary ways. You're essentially with streaming, everyone is competing with everyone. Like the most niche band artist that makes sub-genre label anything is competing with the Taylor Swifts and Drakes of the world. Like everyone is competing for a share of a pie of some platform, or all of them.
So are you saying that you think because of all the competition, people are angry at the further saturation? Now there's just more people in the space.
It's and then you have, I'm just going to be honest, then you have dumb-witted economists talking about just raise prices. Like that's the most Fisher-Price way of trying to solve a problem.
Yeah.
And like it's just, and then you want to just say to them, it's Fisher-Price economics. Like if you raise prices at a rate that is much slower than the dilution ratio of music just coming in and flooding it with random, use and maybe even novelty use for people to put themselves to sleep or whatever else, or create, generative music because they're going on a road trip and they want to generate an AI song about eating buffalo wings in Buffalo, New York. Like it all affects each other. And I think that's the problem, that most people feel it and understand a portion of that, but watching it from a macro perspective is challenging. I was just talking to someone earlier today from a big indie label about generative AI. And I was just wondering, would they be comfortable stepping into the space and allowing a small portion of their catalog to be trained and see how that works in this like future attribution world of making money?
What was their response?
I already kind of alluded to the fact that this has to happen in a way that you have, because right now it's like a market share business, meaning how much plays do I have in comparison to everyone else, to how much I can make out of that, right? This is going to be what share of influence do I have in these generative AI platforms that is making music based off of my music that's informing how to create this content? So those two things already exist, in parallel to each other, but it's just one's going to grow and one might diminish. But more importantly, everyone's just, and rightfully so, cautious that one will cannibalize the other.
Right.
And that goes back to the whole streaming thing. Like, I don't think the model is right. I think, platforms like, and this is a biased opinion, or semi-biased, like platforms like SoundCloud are protected against something like this because they have a different streaming model. So if the three of us here are listening to music on SoundCloud and they have a user-centric model, Ben is a massive fan of generative AI music. It's all he listens to every day for some weird reason.
But from that modular synth, like only self.
Right? Exactly. That's your prompt machine. And then you and I, Krystle, we listen to other music that has nothing to do with Ben's behaviors. None of our subscriptions on SoundCloud are affected by his behavior in a user-centric world. But in a pro rata status quo, how every other platform is calculating, monies to artists, it does matter because he's siphoning money from our 3 subscriptions, if we were the whole market, out from our pockets. So it's unfortunate because innovation in music should just show up, and we should kind of hammer it on the head and see, what's interesting about it. Kind of like what you're both talking about, like really stress testing it and seeing how we could break it to make it interesting. But we can't do it because that one group that you mentioned are like, this is a threat to my bottom line because my bottom line literally is going to compete against this content.
Yeah. So Ben, same question. Yeah. Why are people so angry about AI music?
I mean, part of it, honestly, to me, I understand why people are angry about AI music. Sometimes I feel like it's a little bit misguided, like people angry about AI in general. I don't like seeing artists angry at other artists. Like the reason I won't make a response video to Rick Beato's video, for example, about the musicians not being skilled anymore, not trying anymore, that whole, is because I refuse to make a video tearing down another artist. Like it's like one of the golden rules of my channel. It's like, don't do that. Like just find a different way to make content then. But it really just kind of sounds like a wiener contest to me. Like it's just, okay, I can play many more instruments than Aphex Twin can play. Like Aphex Twin is not that great of an instrument player at all. I've been playing guitar my entire life. I play the piano. I solo piano albums. I play the drums. I probably play more instruments than Rick Beato plays. That doesn't mean I'm a better musician. That doesn't mean I'm a better artist. That certainly doesn't mean I'm more iconic than Aphex Twin and that I haven't contributed to culture more. So it's just like, what exactly are we measuring? Like nobody ever looks at it that way.
Music Attorney is your #1 legal resource for artists, producers, and record labels. Get contract templates, one-on-one legal advice, free master classes, and everything you need for your music business. Go to topmusicattorney.com. And on the metrics thing, going back to Rick Beato, so mentioned something, he mentioned this in his video. He goes, well, if you look at Google Analytics, right? The term music was being searched 100% in 2004. Now it's 25%. So, in the course of 20 years, it's dropped 75%. He makes the point about the search term for pop music, hip hop. He's like, the only thing that's kind of stable is country music. So he goes, but people are more on social media. They're searching for social media. So he goes, and speculates that he thinks it's just people don't care about music anymore.
And so I bet if he went to like a nursing home, people would be typing in music into Google when they wanted to listen to music, but most of us just open the Spotify app now and listen to music. It was a terrible source of data on his part. It was poor research. I think he's very wrong, and I'm happy to in a friendly way. I live not far from him. He's more than welcome to come down and listen to all sorts of crazy experimental music and sample some stuff with me. That'd be a lot of fun. It doesn't even have to make content. I think he's a nice guy.
I'm committed to doing a collab with him at some point. So we'll do a new roundtable at your spot.
Cool.
All right. Perfect. So thank you very much both for your input on that.